All right. Well, I'm pleased to be joined by William Lively, CEO of EXtrance, Minneapolis-based investment management platform for commercial real estate investment funds. First of all, William, thank you for joining us. How you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Great. Well, wanted to, I guess we could just start off by having you talk a little bit about your company and services you offer and how long you've been in business and that kind of thing. So, can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I think we can start, maybe with kind of the origin story of EXtrance. I've been in this space for about 6, 7 years. I first started off at one of the first blockchain investment firms in the United States. So that's really where I fell in love with kind of these cutting edge technologies. Started another product tech company after I left that. And then was running a holdings company, bearing my last name. And during that kind of experience, seeing both the problems and opportunities in the space, both as an investor and as a manager, I kind of started EXtrance as a R&D company, more or less, really to like rethink truly how the world partners, and if we could use cutting edge technology to solve some of the equally as complex and pervasive problems in those industries that I identified. So, EXtrance, you did a kind of a good job at a short summary, but is first and foremost, we're an amplifier of best practices for funds, helping them to continue to deliver high quality risk adjusted returns. EXtrance in specific is a groundbreaking all-in-one investment management platform for capital sources and general partners in commercial real estate focused partnerships, that revolutionizes kind of portfolio and investor management, powered by artificial intelligence and machine learning, and backed by that ultra secure blockchain. And just a quick summary of what we offer is, in this holistic platform, we offer liquidity and fund growth solutions, integrated and automated banking and treasury operations, cap table management with complex automated financial modeling, AI-powered data ingestions analysis, anomalies detection, predictive analytics, and finally, blockchain for data storage. And it's heavy used in kind of one of the most unique features that defines EXtrance, which is our private equity marketplace that's designed to reduce withdrawal demands on funds, fill funding gaps, raise capital, facilitate early exits, and most excitingly, if I say that again, foster collaboration amongst funds and its investors. So that's kind of what EXtrance is.
Okay, and you mentioned AI and machine learning. People throw those terms around an awful lot today. Can you just define exactly what you mean for those of us who might be a little more technology challenged, unlike my 13-year-old son, who's all that. But tell us a little bit what you mean when you talk about AI and machine learning in this context.
Yeah, so I'll start it kind of like broad and narrow it into where it matters in commercial real estate. But artificial intelligence, simply is just leveraging computers and machines to, mimic the problem solving and decision making capabilities of the human mind. That's kind of a very broad definition. And we're seeing that in just the general space today with things like, I'm sure your 13-year-old son, or maybe even about like Chat GPT and those sort of applications. But we use AI primarily for a foundation for modeling and analysis in commercial real estate. So this may sound like a big number, but we really feel like by utilizing these systems, we kind of add like 1,000 full-time employees on analysis for the price of one. And that's because we use artificial intelligence to harness the power of big data, funds data, to create like AI generated reports or organize data into easy to understand insights. And then we also use AI for driving powerful processes like capital calls, fund growth operations, treasury operations, et cetera, that are typically pretty bogged down in paperwork. And so it really just provides a lot of efficiency to these funds.
Mhm.
And then I can touch on machine learning as well.
Yeah, yeah, if you don't mind.
Sure. So yeah, because I mean, I think, machine learning and artificial intelligence are sometimes mistaken for one another, or thrown out just for sake of throwing out. But there's a distinction, right? So, machine learning is a subfield of artificial intelligence. That really are systems that are able to learn and adapt without following explicit instructions. That's done by using algorithm and statistical models to analyze and draw inferences from patterns in data.
Mhm.
That's kind of my definition of it. And, in the commercial real estate space, we use ML to really gain a deep understanding of a fund and create a system to learn, analyze, predict, and model. So when you kind of have this machine learning foundation, the applications that we can do for the funds that we work with are pretty extraordinary. That includes like anomaly detection, custom dashboards and KPIs from their data, predictive analytics, which is a really hot topic right now, forecasting, and then just real-time data monitoring and ROI calculations.
Okay. And who are your clients? Are primarily investors, developers? Who's your
Yeah,
typical client?
it's a great question. So, our clients are mid to large size institutional funds. So we sell EXtrance in the platform to these funds to gain a lot of the advantages and a lot of the features of the platform. But ultimately, it does trickle down into the investor side of the ecosystem, in the sense that the managers are running their operations utilizing EXtrance, but EXtrance also offers basically an investor portal, but for limited partners, so that when they're investing in a fund that uses EXtrance, they get their own login and their own dashboard, essentially, where they're able to take advantage of those real-time data analytics and portfolio insights to better manage their own investments. And on top of that, they have we work very closely with our clients, our GPs, our funds, to define buy sell provisions, but they're able to utilize our first of its kind marketplace to explore new opportunities, or to, in some cases, make an early exit or fulfill a capital call, that's maybe non-scheduled and stuff like that. So it's a tool for both, but our clients are really those funds that are looking to take advantage of technology and to offer their clients and their investors the best possible products and investment products that they can.
Okay. So do you think this is sort of an emerging thing now in the commercial real estate world, where people are investors, for example, this is kind of a must-have now to tap into this technology, or where do you see this going in the commercial real estate space?
Yeah. Again, a great question. I think, there have been, since 2010, really, there have been there's been attempts kind of to bring technology into real estate, usually more at like the property management level, which has had some success and some non-success. But what I would say is that we're entering into an era where, if you're not using machine learning systems and AI solutions, you're kind of going to be left behind, right? With the markets being how they are now, funds looking in and looking at increasing operational efficiency within their fund, and also making sure that their fund's attractive to investors by offering things like liquidity solutions. I think it's something that now is the time to adopt. And we're seeing a lot of momentum in that, because those earlier solutions were kind of piecemeal. And I say that in the sense is they would address perhaps one issue that a fund may have, whether it's maintaining and having oversight over rent roll, but it wasn't it wasn't touching all pieces of the funds from the CEO to the junior analyst. And now that, solutions, particularly like EXtrance, is setting a benchmark so high above what's out there today, there's a bit of, if you're not using it, it may have investors asking questions of why not. And it also really is going to make it harder to stay competitive within the field just based on ROI, or whether it be just non-attractive offerings to investors.
Okay. I don't know if you're a sports fan, but it reminds me a little bit of analytics in baseball. Or,
Sure.
you know,
Yeah.
but so can
Are
you
you thinking Moneyball or?
Moneyball or yeah, just having yeah. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, but it's kind of you're seeing it more and more now, it seems, in industries across the board. And I mean, some are a little faster to adopt new technology than others. Like I do a lot of construction reporting, for example, and it seems like construction is always a little bit behind the curve when it comes to technology. But how would you say, what is that the case also in the commercial real estate field, or
Um, I would say sure, like there are, I think, different sectors of the financial landscape that have been more quick to adopt. I mean,
Mhm.
commercial real estate in its essence has been done in some ways the same way it was done in medieval times. Now that being said, of course, there's kind of been a track record of them slowly adopting it. But I think right now is kind of the time, and COVID-19 especially was a time where funds had to look really internally to create efficiencies, to lower costs, to still provide ROI. And so I think there was a big adoption during that time.
Mhm.
And then, with more consumer facing applications like ChatGPT, again, people are warming up to it, and the real estate industry, which is a little bit slower to warm up to it, is warming up to it. And
Mhm.
then I think, perhaps it's a way of thinking about how these fund managers think is proof is in the pudding, right? So,
Mhm.
we stand on our technology. In fact, like, right now we're working with a few select clients where we're not even taking any, we're eating all the costs associated with onboarding a fund, which we do in weeks, not months. This isn't a Juniper Square. And running the system for a few months for free to really show the inherent advantages of using a platform like EXtrance, how easy it is to use, and the real ROI that they see on implementing the system. So maybe it takes a little bit of nudging in some instances, like we have, which is says, let us run our software, let us show you what we can do. But then once they kind of get it, they get it. And I think that's just because it's so impactful and so powerful, and it's also tangible in a way. There's the familiarity of logging into your EXtrance account, like logging into your Charles Schwab account. We put a lot of emphasis on like design and users journeys through the platform to make it as easy as possible to adopt kind of these technologies that are more running in the background. So
Mhm.
kind of a long answer to your question, but commercial real estate is definitely coming around to it. But of course they've been known to be a little bit slower.
Okay. And just to back up a little bit, can you give me one maybe specific example of, here's a problem and here's how AI is helping us solve that problem in
Yeah.
the real estate world?
Yeah, so I think I mean I can give you a couple of real life examples, but
Yeah.
for about $1.5 billion hospitality fund, we set up a true neural network, which is a machine learning kind of aspect, to track about 14 or 15 different metrics whether it was food and beverage spend, whether it was administrative costs, whatever, and they were acquiring assets as well, to just track them, and any data points that, were outside of what the neural network thought was kind of normal or predicted, it would be flagged and looked into. And so there were two instances where that neural network came into real life. And one was they acquired an asset and they saw these administrative prices just slowly creeping up. And eventually the neural network alerted them to that there was a new asset they acquired, and some of the administrative services that came with that asset had like a creeping price structure, which wasn't like disclosed in the initial, acquisition documents. And so they were able to quickly identify that problem before it became a bigger problem and renegotiate a structure. And then, the other big example is, working with especially like hospitality funds during COVID-19 reopening. They really needed to know where their money was going and where it was being effective. So if they're investing in marketing, you're going to see, a shift in that on the neural network. But then how does that directly translate to overall occupancy rates or revenue per occupied room? And so getting pretty in the data was really important in times of uncertainty, or in times of where cash needs to be allocated truly to its best purpose.
Okay. So, and how long have you been in business now?
Yeah, so EXtrance, we essentially we've been in business for about 3.5, 4 years. But most of that time was, we have a team of about 32 data scientists, back end, front end developers, AI engineers, ML engineers. So it's about like 30 plus months of production before we had a product. And then we went through product testing with some of the, the larger scale institutions, New York and Chicago and so forth, during a testing phase. And then it wasn't until about, I think like June 1st at an IMN event in Dana Point that we launched our product commercially. And so since then, we've just seen an enormous amount of reception and excitement around the product in the industry. So, in terms of being in business, we've been a company for a while, but we've only been a commercial company for, months, because a lot of that time and a lot of money was spent in really pioneering, AI and ML applications for the commercial real estate industry.
Okay. And I'm curious, what got you interested in this kind of work? Are you just always been interested in technology and things of that nature?
I was the nerd in high school, so I was literally building apps instead of going to lunch in high school. And I had a great opportunity during my professional journey to join, as I had mentioned, DCI Capital, which was, I'd say one of, or if not the first, blockchain investment firm in the world. And it was kind of taking an institutional financial approach to the cryptocurrency markets. And so, of course, that got me even more excited. But it wasn't necessarily the cryptocurrencies that got me excited during my tenure there. It was seeing the possibilities of the practical applications of some of this cutting edge technology that just ignited that entrepreneurial spirit and a passion for really thinking big and thinking, is it even possible to change how the world partners? And if so, I want to do it, and I want to, assemble the best team to do so. And so that it's been a fascinating journey, but I'd really say, my time at DCI Capital and in the finance and the investment banking side of this, really is kind of where the impetus of all this came from. But also, I just love real estate. It's another numbers thing. And so, I looked into like doing some student housing for myself. I looked into investing in the funds when I was in the holdings company. But this line of work has always attracted me just because real estate is an amazing industry. It's probably one of the biggest industries. And there's so much room for innovation, and there's so much room for to truly transform, how the world partners in terms of commercial real estate and to bring the technology. So, I get up every day and I'm so excited to do what I do, which is bringing these technologies into the field and really seeing how it impacts the landscape and is beneficial for investors, managers, employees, etc.
Okay. And are you from the Twin Cities, and did you go to school here and so
Yeah,
on?
so I'm from the greater metro area. But yeah, I went to school here, but I dropped out of college to actually pursue a job for in the investment field, working with cryptocurrencies. So, and I'll say that because at the time, there was no courses on machine learning or courses on blockchain
Sure.
technology. So
Mhm.
it was a lot of I was I at 18 knew more than probably, most people just from reading, white papers and theses and so forth on the technology.
Mm.
So yeah, I did some school here, but a lot of school of hard knocks.
Great.
Yeah,
Well, fascinating times we're living in.
indeed.
Do you have any parting thoughts, William, or before I?
Um, I would say just my parting thoughts are, there was an interesting statistic that came up, which is that 94% of enterprises think investing in AI will result in competitive advantages, and even more so, 75% believe that AI will open up new business, while providing competitors with more ways to access their markets. So what I would say is, kind of the time is now to look into these solutions, and there's a lot of interest in them. And I think to the people who are interested, it's about really seeing the practical applications, and even though it may be uncomfortable, to lean into technology to really see what it can do for them, their fund, their investors. So
Okay.
those are my thoughts.
And if people want to learn more, I assume you have a website, and how can they find out more?
Sure. So extrance.io, EXtrance.io is our website.
Mhm.
Um, Also, you can shoot me an email, william@extrance.org, or visit our LinkedIn page to learn more about what we're up to and what we're doing.
All right, great. Well, thank you for the conversation. Good luck with your
Thank you.
work, and
Appreciate it.
nice to meet you. Have a great day.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to meet you as well, and you too have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.